Ladies and gentlemen, now I would like to move to our third keynote of today's event, Circular Business Models and Design for Apparel Industry in Bangladesh, presented by Ms. Stephanie Schuitemaker, Head of Communication and member of Holland Circular Hotspot. The keynote will be for 10 minutes. With a round of applause, please welcome Ms. Stephanie Schuitemaker.
Sorry if I pronounced your name wrong. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for having me. So I will touch upon circular business models and design for the Bangladesh apparel industry. My name is Stephanie Schuitemaker, and I represent Holland Circular Hotspot. And what we do as Holland Circular Hotspot is that we try to make the circular economy happen at an international level. So we're always looking for collaboration between the Netherlands and the rest of the world, and we try to organize and realize breeding ground in the world. As you might know, and we heard before already, is that the Netherlands has quite bold ambitions when it comes to circular economy. We want to be 100% in 2050. But at the same time, we are just a small country. We don't have many resources ourselves. And also, value chains don't stop at the border. So it's only logical that in our ambitions to become 100% circular, that we want to find collaboration internationally. And if we talk about the textiles and apparels industry, then it's only logical to also talk and look at Bangladesh. So thank you so much for having me here today, and I will try to inspire you a little bit from the design perspective and business models. So my main question is how to become a winner in circular economy? Or maybe, why would you want to become a winner in circular economy? Well, I can understand that in Bangladesh, circular economy can be seen as a threat. If you look at the public opinion shift from towards consuming less, for instance, and while the industry is still focused on mass production, we also see a possible shift in skills from production to more reuse and recycling repairment skills. We see a possible job shift from Bangladesh maybe more to Europe. So that can feel quite scary, I assume. But at the same time, circular economy is an inevitable future. And there will be winners, there will be losers, and key in not being a loser but stay in the economy and be part of the future will be your adaptive capacity. And that will mean that you will have to be able to make better use of raw materials and look beyond optimization. It will also mean that you will need to be able to adapt to new economic models, but also to move with society in sectoral and social transitions. There are a lot of developments happening at this moment or coming up soon. And looking at Europe as an important buyer market for Bangladesh, I think it's quite interesting to touch upon, really short, a couple of these developments. So, for instance, stricter eco-design norms will be happening really soon. If you look at recyclability, repairability, recycled content, also EPR, extended producer responsibility, will mean that the organization that brings the products on the market in the Netherlands, for instance, or in Europe, will be responsible for the whole value chain. So also the buyers will ask very specific things from the suppliers. At the same time, we see in the Green Deal for circular denim, also mentioned to as the Denim Deal, we see that as setting an example for voluntary cooperation in circular standards. And there will be more of those. So why should you start today? Well, first, of course, to keep your markets. You will have to look at regulation in export markets as a license to operate. You will also have, you can look at business opportunities as well. It will not only be about keeping the market, it will also be about changing your own market, making use of the momentum for producing quality over quantity, going from mass production with lower prices per item to quality items that maybe can be asked for more. At the same time, circular economy can also save costs, which you will see later. So I think this today is actually the momentum for change, for radical change. You're in the phase of going from a low-income country to a middle-income country, which is just the right momentum, I would say, to use all the momentum that's happening there. For instance, to scale up recycling while EPR is also developing, could really help each other. Also, looking into improved business models for Bangladesh, for instance, by keeping collection and sorting and reapplying the material that gets lost now in Bangladesh. And also what I said, we already have the denim deal together with Turkey, and that can be momentum to set change in motion also for Bangladesh. Well, you could look at circular design as a starting point. There are many starting points, but this could be one. As 80% of a product's environmental impact is made at the design stage. And circular design can help scale up in a cost-effective way. At the same time, you have to think of durable, repairable, and recyclable products. It's also about what material do you choose to use. And it's about taking into account the whole value chain, including end of life, but also how will you design your business model if you look at circular design. Well, here you see the current linear value chain. And it's very clear that, I think I skipped a slide, but that's okay. Well, to begin with, circular economy is really about rethinking, being creative, looking at the current value chain in a different way. So, of course, we all know that at the end of the value chain, there is a value leakage when materials become waste. If you look at circular design, at all stages within the value chain, you can look at waste leakage and change it into profit, for instance, or less leakage. There are a lot of strategies to limit this leakage, and for instance, for Bangladesh, you could look at the earlier mentioned cotton waste that's now being exported, but it's a value drain actually, and you could use it in your own production chain, which would be a huge opportunity for the country. But that's just a simple idea of circular design. I believe there will be many more. This is the one that I wanted to show. This might actually be a good starting point for Bangladesh. We have a methodology in the Netherlands which is called the Circle methodology, and they help helping businesses go from linear to circular, established businesses, by looking at their own context, their own products, and at the different phases of the value chain. And the fun thing to tell you is that because it was such a good example, they're now sharing their knowledge and experience all over the world, and they're setting up international hubs. For instance, already in, let me think, Turkey, Malaysia, Singapore, Thailand, soon to be Hong Kong, but also Sri Lanka, where they focus specifically on circular textiles. The amazing thing about this program is that it's focused on the country itself. It's not something Dutch that we want to export. It's just sharing the knowledge and making sure that locally it's getting adapted and used to improve the sector. So just to show you in a couple of steps examples of circular design and circular business models. We have, for instance, waste to wear, which is already active in China. And we heard earlier before already about circular sourcing. Where do you want to get your sources from, your material that you will use? I think about pineapple by someone, but there's also fruit leather from the Netherlands that makes actually leather-like material from mangoes. And this one that I show now in the screen is waste to wear, which is active in China, and they make their fibers out of recycled plastics. Another one that I felt would be directly relevant for Bangladesh is Daiku. And Daiku actually has machines that make it possible to do the dyeing process without water and without chemicals, which would directly benefit the industry, I would say. They are already active in Thailand, in Taiwan, in Vietnam, and soon also in Korea. And I think very important to mention is that they work with the big brands like Adidas and Nike. Well, a last one. If you want to look into material reuse, it's very important to look at your sorting process at the source. So going, for instance, from manufacturing waste to reuse or recycling, this can be a really interesting showcase because they sort big amounts of textile waste or textiles based on the quality of the material, but also the colors. Well, I hear the bell that I have to finish soon. So I just want to show you, we just saw a similar value chain in the presentation before me. But you can see that these were just 3 examples. We have many of them, very inspirational. We also heard that the Netherlands and Bangladesh are quite different. But at the same time, I do feel, and we heard it today as well, that technology is already there. Let's see how we can learn from each other, where we can copy, or at least see how we can adapt each other's best practices in our own contexts. So I think to finish, if I look at Bangladesh having a circular economy value chain, I would say, look at the global developments and decide, jump on or lose market. I would say there is a business case for the country if you look at local recycling and production and reuse. At the same time, you have quite some examples already. I didn't see a lot of them today, but I know there are examples already in Bangladesh that try to become more circular. Just look at this conference and who organized it. And I think that we have to work with the front runners, also locally, and the ones that anticipate the changing markets, because they might be the winners of the future. Thank you so much.